Since becoming a photographer, I've noticed my perception of the way I see the world and things around me has changed quite significantly. And it's had quite big impacts on the way I live my life and the way I interact with other people as well. This video, I thought I'd explore some of those things because I don't think it's just me. I think this is going to happen to you, or it's in the process of happening to you already. The first is the changed perception of beauty. And I've noticed that my mood is better because of it. And I also notice when I'm around other people that I'm seeing things and I'm getting pleasure out of them and enjoyment out of seeing those things that other people just aren't seeing and experiencing. I think that makes me a little bit happier than them, which I'm happy about as well. And that can be as simple as clouds and light reflecting off the side of a building. Like in this picture here, I just snapped this on my iPhone because I saw it. I didn't even have my camera with me, but these things catch my eye. Or even enjoying it when it's raining, and how in a city everything becomes super contrasty and reflective and all the colours get intensified. And I can look at that and think, wow, this looks incredible, rather than, oh no, it's pouring with rain. I actually like it when it rains. I think it can be beautiful. It can be annoying, definitely, but it can be really pretty. And you find beauty in all of these things that people just take for granted or are annoyed by. And next, because we're spending a lot of time capturing moments one way or another, we start to become very aware of those fleeting moments. A glance, a look, the way something went past something, walking down the road, and the position of people and the background just lining up perfectly, and we just see it, and it only lasts a couple of seconds, maybe just a split second, but we react to it. These fleeting moments that come past, there would be photographic opportunities. We keep seeing them all the time, and they're firing in our brain and making us think, there's a shot, there's a movie scene, there's something that reminds me of something else. These little fleeting moments, it's constantly happening, and it almost feels like not quite a superpower, but it really makes everything intriguing all the time. By observing all these fleeting moments, we actually become more observant people. We see more of what's going on around us. We take in more, but we're also able to react a bit better, I think, as well, because we're reacting to people's facial expressions as well as part of that. Which leads me into my next point. Our social dynamics change because we're aware of these fleeting moments. We become aware of people's expressions as well. We get better at reading body language, which gives us so much more information about how another person's feeling. And we also see those small little looks where people just let their guard down for a moment and their expression tells you what they're actually thinking, and we see this more. And that can sometimes be a little bit negative that we see that, but mostly it's positive because we can respond to it, and that changes the way that we interact with people. It makes us come across as if we really understand people a lot better because we're more sensitive now to their facial expressions and their body language. And this makes making friends much easier. It makes social interactions and work much easier as well because you're picking up on these cues more easily. This changed perception of beauty, fleeting moments, noticing people's expressions, these different social interactions, we become better storytellers and our memories improve. I've noticed that when I'm with a group of people and then we talk about that moment later on at another time, my memory of it is often better than other people's because I have these snapshots of moments in my mind and I can connect the dots because those snapshots of moments link together and it triggers the memory of the other things that happened. And so my memory for real things that have happened has become better, and it seems to other people that I just have a very good memory. But the other side is your storytelling enhances a bit as well. Because you've got these scenes which are a bit like a storyboard, when you relay a story to someone, you do it a little bit better. I'm not saying you become like a super storyteller or anything like that, but you do have a logical flow to things. You start to remember things in sequence and what happened and the memorable moments that make a story actually interesting, because those become those snapshots. Because you're aware of all of these things as well, you become better at describing it. You set the scene better when you're telling a story. That makes a huge difference to how someone feels when you're telling them that story. These are really useful social interactions and social skills that are developed just from doing photography. It's quite bizarre. Because when I speak to my photography friends about this before I made the video, they were like, yeah, that's true actually. I hadn't thought about that, but it kind of makes sense. Now, one area where it's kind of a bit of a mixed bag is when it comes to travel. So the upside when you're a photographer, when you travel, is that you take more pictures and you have all of these experiences which we've just spoken about. They're more intense, but it's generally just happening to you. And the people that you're with aren't quite going through the same experience as you. So it becomes very easy to become, hey, I'm the photographer guy. I need to take pictures and do this and that, and lose track of why you're actually there in the first place, which is to be with your family and friends or loved ones or whoever you're with. A word of advice would be to maybe ditch the camera gear and just take your phone and try to enjoy the experience for what it is, because the experience without people is just never quite the same. But the counterbalance is when you travel somewhere, you're going to end up taking your camera because this is the chance to shoot that location. So I get it. I do that. I end up taking a camera, usually with a sort of a zoom lens or something a little bit wideish as a prime. I will take that with me, and I will take my phone, and I'll sort of mix and match. If I know that I'm going to be taking pictures, I'll take my camera along. But I try my best to not overload with that and try to keep it down to more of a minimal amount so I can actually spend time with people. The way I watch movies has changed. I probably get more out in films overall because I'm looking at the cinematography and I'm thinking, wow, that was a really cool shot. That was a really cool scene. I always used to really love music videos because they were so creative, but even television adverts can be super creative, and you start seeing that more and more and you think, I see what you did there. That was really clever. And this kind of feeds into the overall picture that we build up of the world around us. And I think that can really help. There's a certain slowing down that happens when we're being this observant. Because we're seeing more of these moments, we are actually slowing down slightly. We're not just marching through because stuff is attracting our attention, and it's just slowing us down 10%, something like that. In our pursuit of being a photographer, we learn to be patient, and I think that can really pay off. We become much more patient people. I used to be incredibly impatient. I mean, really, really badly impatient. I'd be like, what's happening? What are we doing? Why is this taking so long? I'm getting bored. Come on, let's do something. I was like that. It's annoying, I know, but that was kind of how I was all the time. I wanted things to happen all the time, especially being someone from a city. As soon as I'm outside of the city, everything just felt irritatingly slow. But now I feel like I'm much more of a patient person, just in all sorts of things, because I know things are worth waiting for and it's worth taking your time, and not everything has to be this rush all the time. And because it takes time to set up shots and we have to wait for lighting, we have to wait for things to happen. Sometimes we just have to wait for people as well. But these things make us more patient as a human as well. And I think we're better off for that because we become less stressed. Which brings me on to the mental health aspect. This is such a good way of getting emotions out, because it's really important to remember that the whole point of photography is an emotional expression, because creativity, the only reason we do that is because it's an emotional expression. The only reason we listen to music, the only reason we watch films is because we want to feel something. It's emotional. And that's the reason why we do photography. I've noticed recently photographers putting videos online where they're saying they're not getting what they wanted out of YouTube anymore, for example. And I think the answer is really simple. It's because they've lost track of why they're a photographer in the first place. You do you, please, which is to just be yourself. And that's basically what I'm trying to do. And I think that's what we all need to do. And I think if we stick to that as photographers and don't try to overly impress other people, because then we're losing track of why we're photographers in the first place. If we make it about our own voice and our own expression, then I think we can reap all the rewards and benefits of being photographers, which is this emotional, creative outlet that we have. And that brings our stress levels down. If we're doing it properly, this is a great outlet for us. And out of all of the points I've mentioned so far, I think this one is the most important. I'd really like to know from you guys, what changes have you noticed for yourself? Maybe you've become more frustrated because you're struggling with your camera, or maybe you've just become a happier person because of it, or something completely different. Let me know in the comments down below, because I might do an updated video of this at some point when I've got more feedback from people and include some other points that you guys have mentioned as well. So let me know in the comments about that. Don't forget to check out the links in the description as well. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Consider subscribing if you're new here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.